Bobby Slowik is perhaps the most scrutinized sports figure in Houston right now. He is the Texans offensive coordinator. There's no Dusty Baker to shield him. There's no Joe Espada criticism really happening anymore after he was able to pull the Astros out of that awful start, which was largely due to Jose Abreu, among other things. No one is probably more reviled in Houston sports than the Texans offensive coordinator. He met with the media today. Here is what he had to say about the second half struggles of the Houston Texans.
Say really generally, I mean, I think we all know in the second half, for probably the last 5 weeks or so, we've struggled. And it's one of those things when you look at, I mean, I think we haven't scored a touchdown like 19 straight second half possessions. And honestly, like our approach is football is football. And what I mean when I say that is when we dissect it, because we've known about it for 3, 4, 5 weeks now. When you really dive in and you're like, okay, what's going on? Is something off with the play calls? Are they doing something different? Are we doing something different? What's happening? It's football. Like, it's the exact same as it was in the first half. We're not operating and executing the same. And that's kind of been something that we've been going back and forth on as an offense, really for a couple of weeks now. And ultimately, I think it's one of those things where you keep doing the same thing and you're operating the same way, things aren't working out in your favor. And then even though there may not be necessarily a mental roadblock, it becomes a mental roadblock. And that's kind of what we're working through. And I think we're all in the right space and have great intent in what we're going to do when we come out in the second half going forward and be on the same page.
Good God. Okay. Well, I drifted off in that. Bobby, you're not helping yourself out here. I can't. Honestly, I would have rather him just said, we got to be better. Football is football.
It's just football.
He said that twice.
Football is football.
He said that twice. Mental roadblock is a mental roadblock?
Oh.
What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm dramatically looking at the camera at ESPN Houston and at Twitch, at ESPN 975 on Twitch. You can see my beautiful green eyes glaring at the reality that we got an offensive coordinator who's spitting the worst kind of cliches out while his ass is on the line. Football is football. Get the bleep out of here.
What a crazy answer.
Give me something else instead of that. Just say we could be better. I would take that. Football is football. Mother lover, it has been 10 straight weeks of second half nothing.
Well, I love how he's going through, 19 straight possessions in the second half. We haven't scored a touchdown. It's just football. And then he gave the only nugget he gave a little bit was after he said it's football for the second time. He said they're just not operating or executing the same.
Oh, no way. I didn't notice.
But the start of it also, he says it's not play calling or from the other team. It's still so clear. It's just he's well, it just should work. And he's almost just I'm so smart. These plays will work in the first half and the second half. It's just not working. Football. It's football.
Football is football.
I also love at the very end where he said, we're going to come out with great intent in the second half. What does that mean? They're going to try hard?
Great intent is great intent.
They're going to intend to score?
Friday is Friday.
Football is football.
Patio bars are patio bars.
Some are better than others, but they're all patio bars.
November 15th is November 15th. I mean, how many things can we just say, yeah, well, football is football. What dude?
Basketball is basketball.
Dude, can you, I get it. Laramie Tunsil thinks he's probably too good to be yelled at, and I would imagine Titus Howard, who thinks he's part of the cool kids club on the offensive line with Laramie Tunsil, probably feels the same way. But, this does not make me feel like behind closed doors they are being as pissed off at themselves as they should be. This is just... it's so casual. And look, again, I'm not what they say to us. I'm hoping it doesn't happen behind closed doors. But for God's sakes, man, that's it. That's really it. Football is football. Along a long answer about mental roadblocks are mental roadblocks. Bro, this has been happening for such a long period of time, and I feel no sense of urgency. You've lost 3 of 4. You are completely on the outside looking in at having one of those top seeds in the AFC, even having a chance at home field advantage, potentially giving yourself that first ever AFC championship game in Houston, or just a better chance to get there in the second round of the playoffs.
I mean, look, okay, when they were talking like this and things are going well, we kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt, right? That it wasn't like this behind closed doors. Like we were like, hey, this is probably not the exact message that they're sending to the team. But when you say things like this,
football's football,
and then things aren't changing, when you keep talking about change, you keep talking about how things are going to get better, and then you keep working on it, and then you say things like football or football, it just makes me wonder. You're right. Like, what is happening in these meeting rooms? Like, is it really just like, hey, like this was the right call, just wrong execution here?
I feel like they're going to lose to the Cowboys after hearing that.
Oh no,
Joe, I'm becoming a down bad Bears fan in the moment. Like, I heard that, and I think the Cowboys are going to win on Monday now.
Oh,
I think they're going to win entirely because of that clip. Just because of that. Cowboys 49, Texans 3. Don is telling me to stop. Nope. Did you hear? You didn't hear what Bobby Slowik just said. You didn't hear him say football is football.
Football is football.
He said football is football. That's why they're struggling in the second half. What in the bleeping bleep? Oh. It does sound like it's out of Ted Lasso. And you know what? Ted Lasso's ass would have been canned working for AFC Richmond. He got hired as a joke. Bobby Slowik did not get hired as a joke. He got brought in from San Francisco because he was supposedly, the passing game coordinator for one of the greatest offenses that we've seen in the NFL. I mean, they're making it work with Brock Purdy under center, and they got all those weapons, blah, 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 blah.
Football's football.
I hate that I can focus on that, but that's all I can do.
It's a crazy thing to say.
I don't think it's crazy. It's just as much as it's just like,
no. But of all the
cliches to the max, and
I've never heard that cliche before. This is a new one for me. That's why I think it's kind of crazy. Like, whoever's just like, we're struggling. We haven't scored in 19 straight possessions. We know what the problems are in the second half. We realize there's problems in the second half. Well, what's going? Why are these problems there? Well, football is football.
Football is football.
Like, it's just execution. And like, if he didn't drop in that little nugget, like, we would have literally no idea what he's talking about, because it just it's illogical. Honestly, it's just rambling nonsense. The only little thing is when he says they're not operating and executing the same in the second half as the first half.
Thank you.
But also,
couldn't tell. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes,
that, though, because now we know that football is football, and things aren't going well for them in the second half.
And that's where I think we give CJ Stroud credit, because at least he points the finger at himself. Like, when you hear Bobby Slowik say this,
I almost wish he was O'Brien saying it's on me, Joe.
Yeah,
you're right.
Like, say it's on me. Like, say it is the play call. Say it is the plan that we're not adjusting correctly in the second half. Tell me something that actually is going wrong to prove to us that you understand that you have a problem. Because right now what I hear is football is football.
Rocky on YouTube is saying he is Bill O'Brien's stepson. Nope, Bill O'Brien would say it's on me 1,000,000 times. Football is football. You're not helping yourself out, man. I feel like there has been a lot of blame put on Bobby Slowik that's not being placed in other places, but it is a moment right now where I think that the Cowboys are going to win 69-2 over the Texans after hearing that quote.
Nice.
I feel like, and I'll change my mind probably in like 10 minutes.
We got Monday show.
I'm just reacting to what I heard at the moment. But I mean, how can I stick up for this person? I had this friend in high school, and I say friend loosely because he was somebody that everyone picked on. And I numerous times felt, you know what? I'm going to stick up for this guy because I don't like how everyone's coming after him. And he was one of those guys where when you did something for him like that, he would almost always do something that like actually was kind of a bleep move to you. And you're like, yo, I had your back. I had your back. And I don't even really have Bobby Slowik's back here, but that person who did the same thing at college, because he went to the same college as me, weirdly. Like, we went to the same high school, small high school in Florida, went to the same school, Syracuse. The same thing happened at college, and I was so pissed I was so pissed about it. And I'm mad at myself that I've been kind of saying, like, I don't think this is some Bobby Slowik. And again, it's all about a quote at a press conference. And you're right, Paul. You're a crazy person for reacting like this to a press conference clip. Sure. Football is football, though. Oh,